A very good afternoon to you and welcome to CoreTV News on this hour. I am Nena Oragwa. The federal government has made good its threat to unveil and punish all those involved in the Halliburton fraud which made international headlines. Nigeria is said to have lost at least $26 million to corrupt officials in the high-wire financial scandal in which other key players from several countries have been sentenced to various jail terms and made to pay various sums of fines to their government. Owing to the announcement of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has quizzed a senior advocate of Nigeria, Damian Dodo, over his role in the Halliburton deal. Many of the suspects in the global scandal are expected to be questioned in the weeks ahead. Dodo is being alleged to have received $4.5 million through his firm, Didi Dodo & Co., from the multinational firms involved in the Halliburton bribery scandal under the cover of legal fees. He is also alleged to have withdrawn over $2 million cash for purposes that the EFCC describes as unclear and in flagrant violation of extant money laundering regulations. The Director General of the National Task Force on Illegal Importation of Small Arms, Osita Okereke, says former President Olusegun Obasanjo is the architect of corruption in Nigeria. He says during his time as president, Ghana must go loaded with money was in vogue. The DG, while speaking with journalists at a press conference, says the Operation Feed the Nation was a scam by the former president to increase the size of his Ota family. Our correspondent Bukola Feni has more in this report presented from our studios.
The Director General says corruption is the biggest problem facing Nigeria. He says Bring Back Our Girls group is nothing but a propaganda against the federal government. He urged the leader of the group, the former Minister of Education, to channel her energy into positive measure and not an advocacy group for the popularity.
If they can do it overnight, all there is a person can go to Sambisa and they can march to Sambisa and tell Boko Haram, give us our girl. You know, now, don't be as a person. And now calling Mr. President a liar. Because she failed not to, she didn't succeed on getting a ministerial slot. Then he went back to bring back our girls. When these people look for an opportunity, when they don't get it, then you become their enemy. So I'm calling Obasanjo to call her daughter to order. They should stop causing problems in Nigeria.
The NATFO's DG says the former CG, Nigerian Customs Service, activities in office should be probed due to the alleged irregularities in his administration while in office. He, however, says the organization will work close with the new CG to clean up the sector.
Another thing we needed him to do is to bring back those people who are allowed Boko Haram to bring in all these arms. Somebody like former controller of customs. They must look wherever he is hiding and get him arrested and bring him and prosecute him.
The organization also says it will continue to back the anti-graft war of the current administration.
He has small years mandate. He's just at 7 months. There's no result yet.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the immediate sack of the vice-chancellors of 12 federal universities. The 12 federal universities were established by former President Goodluck Jonathan, and also sacked was the vice-chancellor of the National Open University, Professor Vincent Tenebe. The sack of the vice-chancellors was contained in a statement on Saturday by the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu. The vice-chancellors were affected by the sack, apart from Tenebe, are Professor Mobolaji Aluko in Otueke, Bayelsa, Professor Jibril Ami of Duse Jigawa, Professor James Ayatse of Dusinma in Katsina, Professor Muhammad Farouk of Kashere in Gombe State, and Professor Kanem Breed of Lafia in Nasarawa State. Also affected were Professor Abdulmumini Rafindadi Lokoja of Kogi State, Professor Oye Ibidakpo of Ndufu Alike of Ebonyi State, Professor Isaac Asuzu Oyekiti in Ekiti State, Professor Geoffrey Okogba of Wukari Taraba State, Professor Lal Suleiman Benikadbi in Kebbi State, Professor Ben Chuks Okeke Guzal Zamfara State, and Professor Shehu Abdurrahman Guzal Zamfara State. The statement by Adamo also announced a replacement for the sacked vice-chancellors. President Muhammadu Buhari has described late General Murtala Mohammed as a leader who dedicated his life to the national growth of Nigeria. The president stated this at the 40th memorial of the assassination of the late head of state. He says the death of General Murtala Mohammed is a great blow to the development of the nation. Our correspondent Abiola Oluwole completes the story.
Never before has the late Nigerian leader been remembered like this. General Murtala Mohammed became the fourth head of state of Nigeria on 29th of July 1975 after a bloodless coup that sacked General Yakubu Gowon from office. Speaking at a memorial lecture, President Buhari, who was a governor in the administration of late Murtala Mohammed, describes the killing of the late head of state as a blow in the renaissance of Nigeria at that time.
On the 13th of February 1976, Nigeria suffered a grievous blow with the assassination of Murtala Mohammed in a failed coup d'etat. The country mourned, and rightly so, because Murtala had been on his way to putting Nigeria back to the path of order and discipline after years of drift, corruption, and near despair. It would not be overstating the case to say that Nigeria lost its newly found momentum with Murtala's demise.
General Theophilus Danjuma, an ally of the late head of state, says the coup prevented Murtala Mohammed from realizing his vision for Nigeria.
Today, it leaves me with great emotions. Because I too had been condemned to die by Inca and his associates. In fact, on his list that he brought to General Gilead, our then Minister of Defense, to seek his approval, I was number 3.
Aisha Mohammed Oyebode was just 12 years when her father was assassinated. She says the spirit of the late head of state will be happy with the ongoing war against corruption.
The second principle of my father's life was a fierce opposition to corruption, which he saw as one of the plagues that hold African nations back from fulfilling their potential. For him, corruption is more than a moral deficiency. It corrodes our institutions, diminishes us as a people, and sabotages our collective aspirations. The use of public office for self-enrichment and self-aggrandizement at the expense of the common good was anathema, a breach of public trust and the values of a decent society.
Amongst the legacies of the late General Murtala Mohammed include the creation of 7 additional states and approval of the relocation of Federal Capital Territory from Lagos to Abuja. He was assassinated along with his ADC, Lieutenant Akintunde Akinshenwa, and driver on February 13, 1976 by Lieutenant Colonel Bukar Suka Dimka in a botched coup d'etat. This forum is organized by the Murtala Mohammed Foundation to discuss legacies of the late head of state. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Chief of Naval Staff.
On February 13, 1976, Nigeria was thrown into Benin following an aborted coup that led to the death of the then head of state, General Rahmat Murtala Mohammed. In this special report, our correspondent Kazim Kasali takes a look at the life and times of the late general 40 years on.
40 years on from his death, the name Murtala Mohammed still resonates to most Nigerians. A Civil War hero, the general was killed by a group of officers led by Bukar Suka Dimka. Probably the nation's first reformist leader, the then head of state introduced a lot of reforms like the war against corruption, indiscipline and indolence. He is affectionately referred to by most Nigerians by his first name, and people from the older generation still recall with nostalgia his decisiveness on issues of national development. Perhaps his best and most remembered speech, especially for development on the African continent, is the Africa has come of age speech.
In the endeavor to build a strong, united and virile nation, Nigerians have shed much blood. The thought of further bloodshed, for whatever reasons.
In a short but eventful time as the head of state of Nigeria, he groomed most of the officers who later emerged as head of state during the long military rule after the overthrow of Shehu Shagari-led civilian government in 1984. He still holds the distinction of being the first Nigerian to have his portrait on any denomination of the nation's currency. Born in Kano in 1938, the late General Murtala Muhammad was involved in most of the major turning points in the nation's history. He came to prominence after the counter-coup of July 1966 when he emerged as a spokesman for the northern officers who planned and executed the coup, which led to the death of former head of state Johnson Aguiyi-Ironsi. During the Nigerian Civil War, he was also the first commander of the Army's 1st Division, which successfully captured Onitsha after several failed attempts. He was later removed and replaced by Colonel Aruna. After the war, he became Minister of Communications and later emerged head of state in 1975 after Yakubu Gowon's overthrow in a palace coup led by his close aides and announced by Joseph Gaba, then commandant of the Brigade of Guards. For most Nigerians, Murtala Muhammad is a hero, and on the African continent, the sentiment will certainly resonate. And at this critical period in the nation's history, many, especially of the older generation, will still look back at the time of the late General Murtala Muhammad with nostalgia.
The National Orientation Agencies today celebrating soldiers fighting insurgency in the Northeast. The Director General of the agency, Michael Mary, in a statement signed by the agency's assistant head nurse, Helen Onoha, says those who died in the line of duty, also known as fallen heroes, will be honored and celebrated in a joint concert with the National Troop of Nigeria. The concert is part of the agency's annual patriotism concert and has the theme, The Bravery of Our Fallen National Heroes, Songs to the Fighting Forces. The agency stresses the need for members of the public to show selfless love for Nigeria as the nation shows love to its citizens. The victory stance of the federal government over the Boko Haram insurgents and the planned return of civil authorities to the northeastern parts of the country by the federal government has continued to spur reactions from Nigerians. In the special report, correspondent Abiola Luwale looks at factors that could facilitate quick return of civil authorities to the recaptured terrorist den.
That the Boko Haram insurgents has continued to be a thorn in the flesh of successive administration in Nigeria is no longer news. The terror group at a time held territories in the country where they host their flags and command centers. Aside killing many and destroying property worth millions of naira, the insurgents gained international recognition with the kidnap of 200 schoolgirls in Chibok, a community in Borno State 2 years ago. Though the immediate past administration of President Jonathan tried to tame the terror group, but many agreed that its initial slow response assisted in turning Boko Haram into a monster. A major step taken by the last administration was the declaration of state of emergency in the affected states, a move that was applauded by many. But the current administration promised to defeat the insurgents by December 2015 in the build-up to the last general elections, and it has consistently claimed technical victory over the terrorists, arguing that the military has met the December deadline of winning Boko Haram, a position most Nigerians disagree with.
Claiming that we almost subdued the Boko Haram, while I think this morning we are seeing another scenario that Boko Haram still occupy about 50% of the area. So it looks somehow, we don't know, they are contradicting.
Previously, every weekend and then we heard about suicide bombers destroying, going to the villages destroying, but for now it's less.
Irrespective of the situation at the northeast, the federal government says it is poised to gradually ensure the return of civil rule to the northeast.
We don't want to
deploy our men in such a hasty manner, and it's not well thought out, it's not well planned. So what we are trying to do now is to ensure that we have, a strategic plan of how to move in there and ensure that we are able to relieve the military of some of the pressure that they have been under. It's not about the numeric strength, actually, because we already have men on ground there. We already have men on ground there, but we are looking at where are those areas where we'll be able to make quick impacts.
So, Defense College is partnering with them. That's our own contribution, to provide that environment for interaction, to find solution, workable solution, to issue of insurgency and all other menaces.
It's not right at all now, as it is now.
It's as if we are starting from scratch. A lot of things are happening, so I'm really confused.
In spite of their optimism on the actualization of civil authorities to the war-ravaged Northeast, Senator Abubakar Kyari says changing the mindset of residents of the affected areas will assist in returning peace and stability to the area.
Without the general de-radicalizing the atmosphere or the environment of the population, unfortunately, we will still be faced with the same problem. You may use force, you may use military might. It's important. It's better, whatever you're going to do, it's better to stand on the position of strength. But at the end of the day, there are people that are growing, and if that mindset is still there, I'm sorry, they will still be attracted to the same philosophy and ideology of the insurgency.
As government strategize at ensuring normalcy to the Northeast, a major expectation of Nigerians is how and when the final nail will be put on the coffin of the deadly Boko Haram sect. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Osun State Police Command has fired at 4 of the suspected armed robbers who invaded 3 commercial banks in a Kiru town in the state. Items recovered from the suspects include over 7 million naira cash, 3 AK-47 rifles, 124 ammunitions, 1 assault rifle with 12 rounds of live ammunition and a vehicle. The State Commissioner of Police, Kola Shodikbo, assured that the police is on the trail of all the members of the syndicate at large, just as it urged members of the public to report any suspicious movements.
Today, I present to you some unscrupulous elements who were arrested during the deadly attack on banks by men through expected proactive response to distress call, acts of gallantry and sense of professional expertise, and the recovery of arms and ammunition and parts of the looted money. It will be recalled that on the 12th February 2016, yesterday, Friday, 12 February 2016, at about 15:45 hours, a distress call was received that men suspected to be armed robbers invaded Sky Bank, First Bank, and Union Bank, located on the same street at Ikiru in the Felodun local government area. Swift response by the police repelled the attack. 4 out of the bandits met their Waterloo during the gun duel. 4 were arrested. We are well equipped. The governor has done so much. Let me tell you, if not for that APC, that are vehicle bought by the governor, we could have done so much. So we are well equipped. Osun State Police Command is well equipped. And that's why we're able to beat them yesterday. It's our job. It's our job. Like what happened yesterday, I really bow my heart for members of the public, because the government said that they are the one pointing, telling our men, our SAS men, the movements, when we destabilize them. When they couldn't get their operational vehicle, they started running to the houses, to the bush. Members of the public, they are the one pointing, telling us where and where to get them. And that's why I say community policing is very important. This is our job. They came, kill police, kill members of public, kill bank officials. Are they not our enemy? So we should work together. And if we work together, we're able to make Osun State a peaceful area.
Shortly after this break, to stay with us.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43.2%, a figure considered very high? Lassa fever, an acute viral illness characterized by high fever, muscle aches, mouth ulcers and bleeding in the skin, is harbored by rats and spread to humans via the urine and droppings of rats. To prevent Lassa fever, avoid any exposure with rodents, rats, as well as food and objects contaminated with rat secretions and excretions. Report all suspected cases of Lassa fever immediately to the nearest healthcare institution. Help prevent Lassa fever. This message is from the federal government of Nigeria.
Glad to have you back. If you just joined us, still CoreTV News on this hour. For more than news stories, join us on the social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News, on Twitter at CoreTV News NG, and on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV News. As the current administration continues in its drive to reposition Nigeria under the auspice of the change mantra, a group of public relations professionals are calling on the federal government to key into the concept of using effective communication as a tool to reshape Nigeria's global image. Meanwhile, the president and council chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Rotimi Oladele, says the only problem of Nigeria and Nigerians, and until citizens change their mindset and character towards the nation, this leads to what leaders can achieve. Our correspondent has more from the induction ceremony of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations in the Federal Capital Territory. Her reports.
This gathering of public relation professionals says patriotism, objectivity and balance are the ingredients lacking in the presentation of news reportage in Nigeria. Speaking on the theme, effective communication as a change agent in repositioning Nigeria's global image, the guest lecturer, Chuks Osuji, at the induction ceremony of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, says the media has done more harm than good to the image of the country, thereby advising practitioners to be more nation-building oriented than being money-conscious.
Let me come to what we call stereotype. In stereotyping or profiling, it is a dangerous thing. According to Amanda, she said, stereotype tells only one story, and that one story may not be the true story, but it is the story. That Nigeria has bad image today has become the story.
CoreTV News Omotayo Alo, a newly inducted associate member of the Institute of Public Relations, pledged to champion the course of development communication, which is the only way to salvage the country from its current negatively perceived state. A path our colleagues told.
A strong campaigner of development journalism, where you get to tell good stories, good things that happen in Nigeria, just to make people, not just in Nigeria, but outside the country, know that good stuff happen in the country, aside from the fact that, oh, we have corrupt people, where people are dying and kidnapping.
For instance, where I teach at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Anambra State, Nigeria, you find out that the faculty of engineering was able to manufacture a few things, but you don't find some of these things at the national dailies. But we need to market them so that Nigeria, others will also know that Nigerians produce things that will help Nigeria and help the global system.
For instance, let's take the traffic. When you're driving on the street, you see people who know that the other lane is for the oncoming vehicle. But because there's a little traffic, and they just switch to the other lane and begin to do one way. Those are the things, and in this Nigeria, there are foreigners. These are the things they see, and they go out and say we are lawless. So we need to correct those attributes, those attitudes, and then begin to do right.
For the President and Chairman of the Council, NIPR, Rotimi Oladele, there is no other institution that can drive the change mantra than the Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, who are primarily committed to image making and national development.
Continuous and interactive partnership as the key to sustainability, that we all agree to improve Nigeria, we all agree to improve reputation of Nigeria, we all agree to improve the personality and conduct of Nigeria as a nation.
With renewed commitment to national development, the NIPR body calls on Nigerians to play the role of problem solvers and not further complicate matters by speaking negative of the country.
Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku says the formation of his election by the Supreme Court will definitely re-energize him to fast-track the development of the state. Speaking at an event in Abuja, Ishaku says his focus is on how to increase the revenue base of the state in a bid to rescue Tarabans from underdevelopment.
I will work harder to increase the IGR. I have to put on my shotmakers so that my people will get the benefits of the trust they have reposed on me, and I want to assure you by the grace of God we will succeed. I am on the rescue mission, and the rescue has already commenced about 8 months ago. Now I will double the effort with this finality in court cases.
Traders from the main market in Plateau State are lamenting the recent hike in prices of various foodstuffs coupled with low patronage. While some lay the blame on government economic policies, others call for a quick fix that would alleviate the sufferings of the consumers and traders in the city.
A market survey reveals that goods affected by the further devaluation of Naira are those imported into the country, such as rice, vegetable oil, flour, amongst others. Before now, a bag of rice is sold between 8 and 10,000 naira. Now it goes for 11 or 12,000 naira. Vegetable oil, which was sold at 1,100 naira, is now at 1,500 naira. A bag of flour now sells for 8,000 naira as against the previous 6,500 naira price. Prices of other items like onions, garri and fish vary according to the sellers. Some of the traders complain about low patronage.
This is too expensive now. Like we bought bag of rice 10 now it's 10.8 you are buying. It's ground oil you are buying 6.5 before now it's 8,000. And people are complaining and no money in town.
We used to bought carton of fish 15 to 17,000. Now it's cost. We used to bought one carton of fish 20 something. Some our customers they say they have no money to buy the fish.
Issue of increasing everything, like sugar increase, granite increase, and this simas, just all of them.
The hike in the price of flour forced most bakeries to shut down and a subsequent embarking on a 5-day strike by the Association of Master Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria. Though the strike was called off last Monday, full supply are yet to be made to vendors, even at a high price.
Because we used to buy flour 6,500 before, but now it's 8,500. That's why we went on a strike for 5 days. The strike does not punish our customer or whatsoever. We just let them know that things are higher.
A monetary economist, Gideon Golshit, blames the poor economic situation on the neglect of the manufacturing sector over the years and urged government to make policies that would encourage local production.
We are importing goods at a very high cost. For sure, if they come into Nigeria, you expect what will happen. The importer will not sell them at the cost price. One, he wants to make profit. Now, you discover that if government has not taken agriculture so important, so much so that it can again encourage agricultural productivity, it will affect the production of those common goods.
It could be recalled that the Central Bank of Nigeria policy on foreign exchange placed an embargo on certain items to encourage local production in order to strengthen Naira, which is at its all-time low against the dollar.
The Ikeja District Society of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria is calling on its members to key into the federal government's economic diversification policy through small and medium-scale businesses to build the economic and financial base of the country. The theme, Tapping Opportunities from Your Environment, had an array of entrepreneurial professionals from the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, and the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria. Our correspondent Akin Obake brings us this report.
The huge potentials of micro, small and medium-scale enterprise is among us, with an influx of people setting up businesses centered on economic growth. For this reason, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, has organized a symposium to encourage its members towards entrepreneurship. Speaking to journalists at the event, the treasurer of ICANN charges members to take a stand in becoming entrepreneurs due to the fall in oil price and the federal government's diversification policy.
We are trying to encourage members to really come out and think of what they can make for themselves. A lot of things are happening in this country. No one would have predicted about 12 months ago that the oil, the main staple of Nigerian economy, which is the oil and gas, is going to be the shape as it is now. But having done that, what do we need to do? We need to start diversifying as a nation. Now, we as individuals, as professional accountants too, we need to start thinking of what else can we do to improve our quality. And that is why we are bringing up this symposium on entrepreneurship, asking people to tap into the opportunity in the environment.
The relevance of the Federal Institute of Industrial Research in providing accurate information in commercially viable businesses is pointed out by its director, Finance and Accounts.
There are many technologies that you can take advantage of, from bread to cassava starch to fish clean, mushroom technologies, and so many. Even as little as 20,000 naira, you have things that you can do. Come down there and take advantage of those technologies. There's no need for us roaming about the street and looking for a job that is not available there. Come down and you have an array of technologies. That is why we are also showcasing those technologies for our colleagues accountants today.
With the drive for exportation of locally made goods in Nigeria, the Deputy Director of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council speaks on the support of the agency in promoting exportable products by small and medium-scale businesses.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council has a dual role in this respect. For example, some of the products we promote are even to help us conserve our scarce foreign exchange. For example, if Nigeria imports toothpick and we are able, through our effort, through our advocacy, to stimulate production of these products, definitely the foreign exchange that will have been used to import these products will be saved.
The economic diversification policy by the federal government is gaining attention by stakeholders and Nigerians at large. Entrepreneurs are asking for relevant support by the federal government and its agencies in ensuring a sustainable economy. Akin Obake, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The need to educate a nation's population is one that has been linked to developing the level of literate and educated people in the society and pointed to how developed that society will be. While education is important for all, education for the girl child is even more paramount. Correspondent Kazim Kasali in this report highlights the importance of education to any nation that must develop.
Education has always been a major source of concern the world over, especially for developing countries. But more of concern for most developing countries is that of girl-child education. The concern really gained more support in recent years with the assassination attempt by the Pakistani Taliban on the life of girl-child education activist Malala Yousafzai. While for most Nigerians, the major sour point has been the unfortunate kidnap of the over 200 Chibok girls by Boko Haram terrorists from their school in Nigeria's Borno state, while preparing to write the West African Examinations Council Schools Leaving Certificate exams in 2014. The federal government has also reiterated its commitment to education for all, and especially girl-child education. Director General of the National Orientation Agency says the issue is one the government is passionate about and is willing to partner with all stakeholders for increased access to education for girls.
I assure you that at any of our programs, we deal holistically with these issues, including girl-child education and issues of security, corruption, and other demands for additional change or inclusion.
With the desire by the federal government, some Nigerians still feel the government needs to do more for people to have the urge to send their female children to school, irrespective of where they are.
Education is the right of every child in the first place, and then coming to, as a father, as a Muslim too, we are encouraged to train all our children, whether they are male or female. No discrimination between them. Both the male and the female must be given good quality education. It's been said that if you train a woman, you have trained a whole nation.
I wouldn't say that the girl child has gotten enough access to good quality education. Things have improved from what it used to be, but we are not where we should be, because I regard the education of the girl child as extremely important.
Because a girl child is a mother, is a future mother, and she is going to be the next school, the first school for another generation.
On what the government should do, they say educating female children should be incentivized.
Basic education should be made free so that we encourage parents to send their children to school. When government does that, any parent that doesn't do it, then we can take some action against them.
As long as poverty remains so high in the society, it's going to be very difficult to put the girl child through education, because a lot of parents would prefer to put her to work, to hawk in the streets to get some income for the family, if it's not just for feeding. So I believe if the government would look at improving family income.
What government could do again is, let's give incentive to those that are reluctant to send their daughters to school. The government can give some incentive. They are trying to give, the government's policy is education is free for all. Yes, it is free, but we can also add some incentive.
While activists continue to push for more access to education for female children, it makes for grim reading the fact that only 12% girls actually make it to secondary education in most developing countries. The question to ask is, if we fail to properly educate our children, especially the females, how do we develop as a nation? Kazim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
It was a roll call of dignitaries in Lagos as friends and families gathered to celebrate one of their own. Former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Sarah Social, at 60 and made permanent circumstance. Our correspondent, Sarah Yeko, witnessed the celebration. Here's the report.
Solemn hymns of praise and gratitude rent the air unabated, as friends, family, and well-wishers all converged at the Cathedral Church of Christ in Marina, Lagos, to celebrate one of their own, former Lagos State Deputy Governor Princess Sarah Adebisi Soso, who turns 60. Soon after the congregation settled down, the children performed the reading of the Bible as a symbol of blessing and reflection for the celebrants. Not too long after, the celebrant then took to the dance floor in worship and thanksgiving to God in company of friends and family. The service was soon over as the celebration moved to another venue where a roll call of dignitaries were already seated to celebrate this woman of substance. The celebrant was obviously excited, attributed her achievements in life
so I pray
to
God
God.
will give me that patience, I'll be more tolerant, and At 60, I want to be more of service to the younger ones. I think I did my best while in office. So there is nothing that I think I could have done better. One will just be continue to improve on what you do.
It's somebody who likes to touch the life of some people, and she's very particular about that. She's very passionate to members of her family and friends. I wouldn't want to have another wife than her.
She's the most awesome person in this universe. She's more or less my confidant, my mentor. She's one basically that has led me through this path in life, making me do the right thing, showing me where I went wrong, chastising me when I was wrong, and she's just been the best she can ever be.
Some of the dignitaries who were present spoke well of the celebrant.
Lovely woman, lovely lady, a princess, and somebody that has served the state at that level, definitely has contributed in no measure to the development of the state. And we, the women in Lagos State, are happy for her. And interestingly, I'm her senior by 2 days. I was 60 2 days ago. We were birthday mates. So I wish her all the very best, especially now, to know that life begins at 60, is no longer at 40.
I won't say woman leader, she's a great leader. And she's somebody who is very passionate when it comes to education, you know. And she's somebody you can always confide in. And she's someone who accepts criticism when she was in charge of education. So whatever you told her, she would react to it if it's something that she needs to work on immediately. And you see the changes in her and in the challenges that you have put in front of her.
She's an extraordinary person. She's a woman of virtue. She's a woman of noble character. Our former deputy governor of Lagos State and performed a very fantastic job. We're always proud of her. She's done so much for Lagos State and Nigeria as a whole. A good mother, a good sister, a good wife.
Today, on her 60th birthday, I pray to God Almighty that all the things that she has been blessed with will continue to multiply and increase.
Blessed with 3 children, Princess Sarah Adebisi Soson was born on February 11, 1956, to Prince Muritalab Aderemi Durosimi, who hails from Irewe Town, Ojo local government area, and Mrs. Sharifat Aduni Durosimi of the Onikoyi ruling house in Lagos Division of Lagos Central. Sarah Soson, a mother, wife, and politician who clocks 60, says she is determined to impact more lives around her with a renewed commitment. She, however, charges women not to forget their role as homemakers, irrespective of the present-day fight for gender equality.
We'll take another break now, return with more stories. Just stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back on the forum. Senior Justice of the United States Supreme Court and the leading conservative voice on the High Court, Justice Antonin Scalia, has died at the age of 79. Justice Scalia, who died in his sleep on Saturday during a visit to Texas, was appointed by President Ronald Reagan in 1986. Scalia's death has set up an immediate debate over finding his successor. President Barack Obama says he would nominate a replacement, to which Democratic nomination candidate Hillary Clinton says Republicans have to come to terms with. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the nomination should wait until the next president comes into office. Before Justice Scalia's death, the United States High Court had a conservative 5-4 majority, with places on the Supreme Court now balanced 4-4 between liberals and conservators. The fight for influence in one of the highest forums for decision-making in the U.S. promises to be as fraught as the current presidential race. And finally, in sport, Nigerian Cup champions Akwa United claimed a 1-0 win against Vita Club de Mokanda in Point Nore, Congo on Saturday to get a campaign in the 2016 CAF Confederation Cup after a fine start. One of Akwa United's first new signings, Obong Ikpai, scored the winning goal to ensure that the Nigeria Professional Football League returned to the next of champions in the year with a goal advantage ahead of the return leg in the fortnight. The Promise Keepers had a head stacked against them before kick-off, but pulled through a first-half lead with Ekpai scoring the solitary goal of the contest with 8 minutes to the break after a sweeping move. There was, however, late drama inside the Stade Municipal de Point Nore when Akwa United defender Samuel Okon was sent off, but the numerical disadvantage was not enough to deny the Promise Keepers a win and start in their first appearance in the CAF Club competition. Akwa United will play host to Vita Club at the Godswill Ekpabe Stadium, also known as the Nest of Champions in New York. That's it on CoreTV News on this hour. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Nena Oragwa. Good evening.